Positive Gains is back, and our special guest today, Trevin Giles, current middleweight UFC fighter who's got an MMA record of 12-2 and is a Houston area native and is also a police officer. Trevin, thank you for joining today.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man.
So how did you get started into MMA?
Just trying to stay in shape for football. I was planning on playing football for Texas Southern University. I ended up missing tryouts, so I was just going to stay in shape for next season. So I would watch TV and see MMA fights and stuff and see how long they were fighting for, and thought that they'd probably be the most fit athletes, so I should do their workouts, So I ended up joining the gym. Time came around to try out again. I was already getting comfortable, sparring and stuff, and I was getting better in the room. And I decided why not make money while I'm in college, So I started my amateur career, had some success, and it just kept going.
And so where did being the police officer, where did that come into play? Was that something that you'd always wanted? Or were you just trying to have something steady in case fighting didn't work out?
Yeah, so it's a little bit of both. I've always wanted to do it. I'm really big on being able to do the things that I set my mind to. And being a police officer is something that I've always said I was going to do. So since I was saying I was going to do it, I ended up making it a goal to be in the UFC and be a police officer. So I had my first couple of UFC fights. I had some great wins, and then I took about a year off to become a police officer. Did that and came back, and just accomplished that goal.
So what's that like, juggling the both of them? Because obviously it's maybe a similar mindset when you're preparing for a fight, but how do you juggle both of those?
Just time management. I have to make sure that I whatever I'm doing, that I make it count with the time that I have to do it. So with my training, I have to make sure that my training counts, when I go in there and train, because I don't get to train as much as the rest of these guys. Some of these guys can train 2 or 3 times a day. Some of these guys live in the gym, I every morning I go to the gym from about 10 to 12, come home, take a shower, and get ready for work, go out there and hit the streets. So I don't have the luxury of being in the gym all day. So I just have to make sure that my time management is on point, and, also on top of that, being with my family and stuff. So I got to make time to do that too, So it works though. It's working as good as it can.
Okay. So you're scheduled to fight Bevan Lewis November 7th in Vegas at the UFC Fight Night 182. So again, preparing for a fight, how does it work exactly as far as, when they put out in front of you potential people, you sign on the dotted line, and then from there, where do you go mentally as far as now you're trying to prepare for a fight?
So it's just work now, it's just making sure that I'm really maximizing the time I put towards being fit, and not just that, but the mental preparation that I need, which is, watching film and not just that, but just getting myself in the mindset of going to fight, and getting in the mindset, a good mindset to where I'm not freaked out about, okay, well, if you get hurt or what if this, what if that, you got to let all those what ifs flow through your head a little bit until you just don't care about them anymore. So I kind of got to put myself into that mental space. And then from there, I'm just visualizing the whole time, like just imagining different scenarios and stuff, and just imagining being there. So then when I actually do step in there, it feels like we've fought before or something.
What's the feedback been like so far, when you fight, win or lose, and then you go back and, you're out there patrolling the streets and things like that? What's the feedback that you get from those in the community as well as your fellow police officers?
So as far as my fellow police officers, it's always really good. Those guys are great. they know that I'm gonna go out there to put on the show and everything. So it's nothing but love and respect no matter what. They really value what I do. And they, they think it's cool, so regardless, they're always really excited about it and they love talking about it. But as far as like, I gotta say, man, and this is just the straight up truth. I mean, a lot of MMA fans are weird people. They're like, I don't know. I mean, there's no loyalty there. There's no respect. I don't think there's a real respect for what you do. It's they can look at a guy, go in there and get beat up, and then they'll talk down on the guy like he's not one of the best fighters in the world. Like not fighting at the top level. There should always be respect there, no matter what. And I've seen that. I see that all the time. Even if I'm at a watch party or something, I can be watching a fight and somebody's talking down on the guy that's losing. It's like that whoever's losing is still a great fighter, and they deserve respect for even being in there, So to me, it's just a very weird thing. I've had people that praise me. I was undefeated with a really good record. I was 10-0. And everybody was like, "Oh, this guy's this, he's that, he's the best up and coming, all this crap," and then I lose, and then it's just like, "Oh, he's really trash." You know what I mean? It's like go from racking up a bunch of finishes and wins to you lost, so you suck now. So I don't know. I try not to think about that stuff too much, but it's a weird thing. I'd like to focus more on the guys that are supportive and that understand that there's always respect that is due when it comes to acknowledging one of us.
Yeah, and the haters will always be out there. So when due to the pandemic, obviously nobody's out there, in the stands watching. So how does that play a factor into, again, you kind of talked on it already, the mental preparation, but just knowing that when you go in there, you're not going to hear cheers, boos. You're just going to hear sounds of the gloves, and your coaches.
I think that takes, for me, I feel like it takes a lot of pressure off. Because for me, I mean, just recently I was supposed to fight Kevin Holland, and I ended up having some medical issues. Mm-hmm. And for me, it felt relaxing. It felt like we were getting ready to go and do a scrimmage or something like that. It's not, felt like almost like a practice fight. Everything's like real quiet and it doesn't seem like you're on the big stage, So I think that's great. And then we're fighting in a smaller arena, smaller cage and stuff. So I don't know. It almost feels like it's going to be a smoker or something like that. But I think it's just going to make I think it's just going to make me more relaxed. And I feel like a lot of people are more comfortable. That's why now, for some reason, when there's no audience, you see people opening up a lot more. Like you see a lot more combinations, and it seems to be a little bit more violent. I think everybody's a little more comfortable without the fans and all the yelling and distractions. Yeah.
Seems like they're able to hone in on their skills and pay attention to their coaches a little bit more without all the background noise.
Yeah, and it's cool to watch too, just to be able to hear that, because you don't usually get to hear the coaches and stuff, and even the fighters, when they say stuff. So it's pretty cool. I think it's a cool change. I still love the fans. I still feel like I'd much rather have all the fans there yelling and stuff, but it's a cool experience not having them too.
So what's been the most rewarding part of your career so far, in the UFC, and then even if you have a couple moments, out being a police officer, like what have you felt so far that, you're most proud
of? For me, I feel like getting to the UFC was a huge thing, but inside the UFC, I would say it was my first UFC victory. I ended up getting a KO. It was my first time actually putting somebody to sleep with punches, and I thought that it was good. It was a question I always had in my head, and I think it's like that with a lot of fighters. Before you actually put somebody out, it's like, all right, do I hit hard enough to do it? You know what I mean? You kind of think that, right? It's like, can I actually put my hands on somebody and make them unconscious? So I thought that was good. It was also kind of one of the worst moments because the guy wasn't doing all right after that. So that made me feel, bad because, you don't really want it to go there. I don't really dislike anybody like that to wish them any harm outside of the cage, so.
Right.
But that was my best and worst experience in one. And for as of being a police officer, I would say the most rewarding experience I could have is just to really just because I honestly I don't get a lot of times where I show up somewhere and then it seems like some people you help them out and it's kind of like they don't. It's almost like they don't care just as long as they got what they needed to get,
Yeah.
So for me, it's actually been taking people to jail, and they would some people would actually thank me, right? Like the guys that I was taking to jail, they'll say, "Hey, man, like just I appreciate you respecting me." You know what I mean? Like, so not just arresting somebody and acting like they're a bad person because they got arrested, but to treat them, be professional and treat them like a person, it ain't got to be all bad. The person's already going to jail. You might as well be cool on the way there, So I think that's the most rewarding part, just being able to actually still have some sort of connection with people that I take to jail.
So what advice would you give the next person? Because again, like you followed a pretty unique path. I know you're doing work in the community. Like Stipe's doing work as a firefighter. So there's a few other guys out there that are doing double duty. And then obviously there's a lot of guys that are just, solely fighters. But for you, what would you say to somebody that, maybe I want to try and do something within my community and I want to fight, what advice would you give them?
I would just say no matter what you want to do, if you want to do something, then don't just talk, do something about it. My thing is like, it seems like these days a lot of people like to talk about what they want to do or what they should do and all this stuff, and it's just talking to anybody that listen, and then nothing happens. So instead of just saying something about it, you can say it and then just take steps towards doing it. There's always that first step, and after that, you can't stop stepping until you get there. So if you want to do something, just take the first step and then keep going.
Those are wise words and very true. Very true. Excuse me. So where else can people find you on social media?
UFC _ Trevin Giles on Instagram. That's pretty much the main place that I really get on is Instagram. I'm not really huge on social media and stuff like that. I don't, honestly, if I wasn't fighting, I wouldn't be on social media.
I've kind of noticed that. Yeah.
Yeah. For me, it's just not I get on there just to look and stuff. And then every now and then I'll make a post or something, and I'll start posting things when I have fights coming up and stuff like that. But I'm not huge on getting on there and stuff like that. I don't care too much for it. But I am on there, so you can find me at UFC _ Trevin Giles on Instagram, and on Facebook, Trevin Giles. Don't really get on Twitter too much. People, I don't know, people on Twitter or something else, man. I don't like that crowd.
Yeah, the Twitter fingers are alive and running with a lot of people.
Yeah, man. It's rough for me, man. I can't deal with that.
Yeah. So good luck to you on November 7th. Hopefully we get to see you with your hand raised. Appreciate you again for all the work you've done in the community, and not just talking about it, but being about it. Again, and thank you again for taking the time to do the interview, and best of luck to you.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. You take it easy.
Thank you. We'll see you.
See you.